welcome to episode 29 of Fizzy's Wacky World of Wrestling. My name is William Fizzpatrick, and oh boy, we've got a Hell in a Cell to cover this week, folks, and the reaction that most folks have said about this show is mixed to slightly to significantly negative. And because of the fact that my co-host, Sal Cusmano, has been working extra hard this week.
Yep. Been working hard. I feel like I'm going to go insane, but, you know, I've got the weekend coming up, so I'm probably going to keep it together.
So before Sal pulls a Homer Simpson Treehouse of Horror, we have our guest here this week, which is Takers Minon of the Shootin' the Breeze podcast, folks.
Greetings and salutations, folks.
Yes, Taker just wrapped up his show about, what was it, about 25 minutes?
Yeah, about 25 minutes ago.
Yeah, 25 minutes ago. We're going to do some well wishes here. First, we're going to do our well wishes and condolences to the victims of the mass shooting in Las Vegas, Nevada. We wish you our best during this time of tragedy.
Yes.
Yep. And also to one of our listeners, MDS, Mr. Dr. Senju, who just finished up his podcast with Taker. He is apparently battling a cold.
Something. He had a fever. He was feverish and ill the other day, or today, as a matter of fact, and I've, ran him off at the end of our podcast. Like, you go get some sleep.
So we wish you the best. We wish everybody the best, and also the people who are in Puerto Rico right now who have been battling the hurricanes as of late. So that's our condolences and wishes for this edition of the podcast. Thank you, folks. For listening and tuning in. Oh.
We had the deaths of Lance Russell's daughter on Saturday. We had that shooting on Sunday, which we talked about. Monday, Lance Russell died, and Tuesday, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers also passed.
Yeah,
He just said pass our condolences along to those families as well.
Yep, our condolences as well to those families and individuals who've been dealing with such tragedy this week. And well, folks, let's make things a little happier. Let's rip on a pay-per-view that looks average to mediocre to below average this week, which is something we sometimes do on Wacky World of Wrestling. Of course, Sal will retain his calm composure this week, as well as Taker, who is always as calm and intelligent as he is.
I'll try.
Because, folks, what the world is going on with this show? We have a total of 8 matches on this card, counting the pre-show match, and I'm going, all right, there maybe is 3 matches on this card I might be interested in, but oh, good Lord. Let's start at do you want to start with the top of the card or the bottom of the card?
I don't care where we start.
Just get it started.
Yeah.
All right, so let's pick a match out of the hat. We'll start with the bottom half of the card. Let's let the folks wait for the top half of the card, which we'll probably rip on. Let's start with the first one. Oh, Ziggy Bandcamp certainly did a number on you this week, didn't he? He came out to the ring and decided to do a drum solo with a marching band drum on Bobby Roode, because this is Bobby Roode's debut singles match on the SmackDown roster pay-per-view, I believe.
It is.
Yep.
Okay,
they did the same thing with Ziggler, or they did the same thing with Nakamura, so...
So Ziggy is the pest that nobody can get rid of for some reason. Regardless of Nakamura using every single Shinto magic spell to be rid of this pest, or Bobby Roode just blinding him with the glorious entrance, Dolph Ziggler continues to annoy. So, Taker, since you're the guest here, you'll go first on this one. What are your thoughts on Roode versus Ziggler?
It's going to be a match that they're going to try to make it. Ziggler says steal the show. He's a show stealer. Blah 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 blah. It's going to be, in my opinion, meh. Bobby Roode goes over easily.
Okay, Sal, what are your thoughts on this match?
Pretty much that. I mean, I just have to wonder what's going on with Dolph Ziggler. Like, I didn't think it could get any worse for him. Back when they weren't even using him, they're using him now and it's somehow gotten worse. That's the only way I can describe it. It's gotten worse. This gimmick is stupid and it needs to die.
At least,
it needs to die and Ziggler go back to NXT and reboot and come back as something else.
Yeah.
Or heck,
put him under a mask and call him Luchador X or something. I don't know.
Or heck, just launch him out of a cannon so Seto Kaiba in New Japan can have him.
Yeah. I mean, hell, it worked for Juice Robinson. It might work for Dolph. Who knows?
And Seto Kaiba, for on the record, folks who don't tune in every day, that is Keita Nane, who's the owner of New Japan Pro Wrestling. He owns a trading card company known as Bushiroad.
Yep, Bushiroad. Yep. For those who don't get the reference, I'll explain it to you guys another time. Just DM me or something. I'm too tired to get into it right now.
But basically, he is Seto Kaiba from Yu-Gi-Oh!, who also owns a trading card company.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so thoughts on this match? I think it's going to be an enjoyable match. I personally like Bobby Roode a lot more than most other individuals because I have been a regular viewer of the Donner Party of Professional Wrestling, the original one, TNA, GFW, Impact, whatever we're calling them this week. And Bobby Roode, he was pretty decent in that promotion. He's lost a step or 5 since then, but he has a entrance that is getting him over with the audience as a babyface, and he's facing against the annoyance known as Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler will probably be destroyed in this match, so we can move on with our day, and Bobby Roode will start moving into the title contention either for the United States Championship or for the Heavyweight Championship somewhere down the line.
Okay, now I just have to point this out, Fizzy. We thought the same thing when Shinsuke went up against Ziggler. We thought he would come in and instantly destroy Ziggler, and that would be the end of it. It didn't happen. No. I don't think they've learned their lesson.
No, they haven't. And to think that we're going to have Bobby Roode competing for the U.S. title or the championship, do we really want Ric Flair knockoff or Ric Flair wannabe? That's what I call Bobby Roode, especially now.
I call him a penny store Ric Flair because he, as someone pointed out in a Two Guys One Sports stream, pluggo for them later. They said someone pointed out how Triple H was a dime store Ric Flair and Bobby Roode's a dime store Triple H. So I made the joke, obviously, that he's a penny store Ric Flair.
That fits.
We don't want to insult the nickels.
Yeah, he's a penny store Ric Flair. And I mean, look, penny store Ric Flair is still better than Dolph Ziggler. So
yes, I will give you that. One of the few things I will give you.
Because, of course, we know that you and Sal have very different opinions on a certain superstar from Raw who is currently, getting into a feud with the Shield. That would
they
be
got
his.
us some better goons finally.
Oh, poor Bob.
Do you think that's going to be? I still don't think that's a credible threat.
I think it's better. I mean, I think that's why they actually delayed the Shield reunion anyways. I joked about this, but I'm somewhat serious. I get the feeling they delayed it till next week because they need to find an excuse to get Miz, some better goons. And, well, look, the bar, better goons, go for it. But that's Raw, and we're talking Hell in a Cell.
Yeah. So next up on our list of tortures for this pay-per-view is Randy Orton versus Rusev. Will it go longer than 5 seconds, folks? Will Rusev actually get a babyface turn out of this event? Will Randy Orton finally become a despicable heel like he always likes to be? Folks, Sal, do you want to go first on this one?
Sure. My answer to all of the hypothetical questions you just asked, who cares? That is my total reaction to this match. Who cares? I don't see anything coming out of this. Anything. I mean, I don't see them pushing Rusev. I don't see them pushing Orton again. I just don't see anything for this feud. It just seems like it's there.
Okay, Taker, what are your thoughts on this match? And Taker has apparently fallen asleep.
Yep.
Is that you asked me a question about Rusev Orton?
Yeah.
Please. Put it under the cell, bury it. It's been a joke since it's been going. It's a crime. They're not using these guys in other feuds that would make much more sense.
But then again, you're asking for sense and logic in WWE, and sense and logic went out the window with the kitchen sink.
I know. But one can hope. Eventually, I'm going to wind up getting tired of hearing the squishy sound of my head banging my head against the wall and my brains being splattered.
Oh, jeez.
But no, this match is a time for me to go to the bathroom, cook some food, take a nap.
Yep. I'm honestly looking forward to this match because I'm not as down on Orton as some other individuals. I feel like that's, I feel like it would be, it will be a decent match. It will be an average match. If it leads to Randy Orton turning heel and Rusev turning face, of course, I also love the fact that Rusev now has a singer in Aiden English assisting him in his matches, as well as Rusev Day, ladies and gentlemen. He has a key now. He always likes these fancy celebrations, you notice.
Yeah, see, that a couple of weeks ago, I mean, while it was stupid and trying to get, Evil 4 and heel heat, I will say Aiden English as the Master of Ceremonies was awesome. And Rusev, I mean, I like Rusev, it's just they keep making him Evil 4 and generic heel number 3, and they're never going to push him. He's always going to be a mid-card act, even though he's pretty good, so... I just can't...
With Rusev, it's a case of what if, I think he's still paying for the breaking kayfabe of the announcement of his engagement and marriage to Lana.
Yeah, and it's a shame. I wouldn't be surprised, and I think it's a real shame because the man has a lot of talent. He's really good. I mean, he can wrestle a good match, and as much as he's not a bad speaker either, I mean...
No, and another thing, too, is that he can sell his ass off.
Yeah,
Continue.
I just wish they'd give him something better because, he deserves something better. I mean, we'll get into this more when we talk about AJ Styles because I'd like to bring up a topic friend of the show, Curtain Jerker, brings up, but it's a good topic to bring up. But that's for later.
Oh, okay. Well, cool. Actually, it's cool that you brought up AJ versus Corbin because that's next on my list.
Okay.
So right. Here, I'm actually fine with where Rusev is right now. I know that they're going to have to do a slow rebuild of him as a face character, at least eventually here. The idea is on the table, folks. Feel free to take it. But then we have the next match, which is for the United States Championship. We have AJ Styles versus Baron. Oh, God, I lost to Ty Dillinger. Corbin. And
now, if you don't mind, Fizzy, I'd just like to get this out of the way. Now, if you ever watch Two Guys, One Sport with our friends Curtain Jerker and Chris Colgan, which you should on every Friday nights at 9 p.m., pluggo, getting it out of the way early. Love you guys. One of Curtain Jerker's sayings when he talks about how WWE uses their talent, you go to war with the army you have, not the army you want. It's a famous military saying. I'm sure you've heard of it, Taker.
Sure have.
Yep. And you know what? Looking at how bad SmackDown has been, I get that saying. You go to war with the army you have, not the army you want. There is no reason SmackDown should be this bad. When this is the army they're going to war with. They're going to war with a very capable army. They're going to war with Kevin Owens, Shinsuke Nakamura, AJ Styles, Rusev, The New Day, the Usos. These are all incredibly talented individuals. They have Becky Lynch. They have Charlotte. They have Naomi. They have a pretty talented roster. And they are doing some of the most boring and pointless things and just misusing their talent. And it just gets to me because, I could understand SmackDown being this bad if they had like early 90s WWF stars, you maybe had one or two guys and that was it. If that was how you were back then, if like this was your roster, fine. I get it not being the most compelling show, but you're going to war with a pretty damn good army and you're not getting anyone over. Look at Shinsuke Nakamura. Ever since his debut, he's just been constantly getting less and less reactions. AJ Styles, where the hell has he been? I saw a rumor floating around that they're holding him to ransom. You know why you don't see him on SmackDown much anymore? It's because they're saving him for the dark match after 205 Live so people don't leave. Naomi and Becky are in catering. Charlotte can hardly get a face pop after her dad almost died. I mean, they're pushing Baron Corbin as a potential singles star. What the hell? Jinder Mahal is your champion who can hardly cut a promo. And when he is, he's saying racist things because someone in creative thought that was a good idea. The only consistently good thing about this show was the tag division. And even then, we hardly see half of them. I don't get this. This shouldn't be that hard.
I do get it, honestly, because
Well, I get why. It's because creative is being utterly lazy.
Of course they are, because you have a soap opera writer in Ryan Ward and a former tag team wrestler who's a part of the legendary Armstrong family and Road Dogg as the other half of your creative duo. No wonder the only thing that is working right now is the tag division. Everything else is falling apart because Ryan Ward believes that SmackDown is similar to NXT. Hint, as we've talked about the last few episodes, it isn't. NXT has a college atmosphere. It is very much the college equivalent of a wrestling promotion. You know, when you go on Saturday to watch the college football games, and then Sunday you see the professionals go at it in the NFL. In SmackDown's case, these are the professionals that you have. This is the army that you go to war with, which is another saying I've heard as well. I think I may have also said that a couple of times. And they're not using this army well, but I can also understand how and why it's not being used well. Because in this particular match, AJ Styles versus Baron Corbin, we have AJ Styles using up all of his mana points to try and at least get good matches on the main event scene on SmackDown. But it's very clear that it's starting to tire him out. Yeah. And then we have the disaster that is Baron Corbin. Look, I like Baron Corbin, but Jude needs to get his head on straight at this point because he is having a disaster of a run thus far. You lost to Ty Dillinger. You got booked to lose to Ty Dillinger. That is the equivalent of losing to a bar of soap.
Yeah.
Okay? You have lost to this guy who is a low-card, mid-card guy, and you're in a feud with AJ Styles for the U.S. Championship, a feud that you might possibly win just to anger the bejesus out of people or have AJ move forward into the world title scene, which might be a possibility if they decide to have Jinder drop the belt to Nakamura, so that makes him a two-time WWE champion or whatever rumors coming around for the India Live Tour. Then we have, of course...
I haven't spoken on this yet.
Yeah.
I've been quiet, just sitting here listening to you guys go on. And Sal, I would agree with you 100%. But Fizz, we, MDS and myself on our show this morning, bestowed a new name upon Baron Corbin. We call him Wile E. Baron Corbin.
Yes, Wiley Corbin. Super
Wiley
genius.
Corbin. Yes, Wiley Corbin. You know, he fits Wiley Coyote to a T. He loses to cash in. He loses to John Cena. He's lost to Ty Dillinger not once but twice. And the last one was on a small package roll up.
Yeah.
What is, you know, the creative is, like you said, Sal, and like Fizz said, creative for SmackDown right now is it's lazy. They don't want to put forth the stories they were putting forth during the first part of the brand split. I mean, first part of the brand split, the first, 6 months?
Yeah, last year, the same time, SmackDown was must-see TV. I mean, you had AJ as World Heavyweight Champ. You had The Miz as Intercontinental Champ, both carrying great feuds. You had a tag team in Rhino and Slater getting actual characters and getting over. You had Becky as champion and Alexa as champion. Nikki and Natalya were having a feud with concession stand brawls. I mean, and multiple women feuds and segments, you know, a show. Last year, SmackDown was doing pretty much everything right. You know,
what happened?
I don't know. They got complacent, is my best guess. They got complacent. They stopped caring. I think the feud going into Mania, the thing that was covering up all the stench and people have pointed out was Miz's great feud. Was Miz and Maurice against the Cenas. Or against Cena and Nikki. That was masking over a lot of bad. And it was. And, you know, I think part of it was complacency. Part of it was they decided to put the belt on Bray Wyatt. You know, I mean,
which I never did understand that.
No, another part of it was taking Luke Harper out of that story. I mean, they made a lot of missteps and they've had chances to correct those missteps because, like we've established, they have a pretty, you know, even losing the Miz and even, you know,
the only bright spot during that whole time after the shakeup was putting the belt on Naomi.
Yeah. and she was doing great. And then
I myself did not like what they did to the belt.
Yeah. But even then, you can respect the fact that, you know, they considered her a big enough deal to give her own custom belt.
Yeah.
You know? And yeah, you know, I wasn't personally a fan of the Glow belt either, but you know what? I wasn't really a fan of the Rated R belts anyway, the spinner belts or the John Cena spinner.
I wasn't either.
I really, you know, I'm really not too
anything that any kind of novelty put on any belt, in my opinion, cheapens the title itself. Always has, always will.
Yeah, I wasn't really a fan of it, but I know some people were. And, you know, like I said, I thought it was cool they did that for Naomi. Where the hell has she been ever since then?
In catering?
Yeah, in catering. Next to Becky Lynch, who they're also wasting.
I'm still waiting for, everybody says, oh, Charlotte's going to turn on Becky. No, I'm waiting for Becky to turn on Charlotte before it happens the other way around.
Yeah.
That would be the biggest curveball and the biggest, it would draw attention back to SmackDown Live if one of the pure white meat babyface women, someone we thought would never turn heel, turns heel on her best friend.
Well, I can see that happening.
It would. I mean,
that would be a great starting point.
It could be. It's just, I don't even want them to have more attention. I just want them to do better stories. I mean, the stories have been terrible. I mean, the only good one they've had so far is the New Day and the Usos, and even then, that's more they've been putting on great matches, and the story is now we go out there, steal the show every night, we're going to go to battle one more time, and we're going to see who's really the best. It's a simple story, but hell, it's really effective.
If you look at that history between those, they've been going at it for off and on for over 2.5 years.
I know.
And they've had hundreds of matches with each other, and this is something we talked about in my show. Okay, and I hate to keep banging that drum, but if you look closely at those two groups, at the Usos and at New Day, and while they were cutting the promos and talking about we've always tore the house down, this, that, and the other, I saw in all 5 sets of eyes the mutual respect for one another.
Yeah, I think there is a grudging respect between them all.
I don't think it's grudging. I think it's actual, respect and love. And they sit in the back after they're done and laugh their asses off and go, "Yep, we done did it again."
Yeah, no. I mean, like in story, it's more grudging. Like the in story, the respect between the two teams, like they respect each other. They don't really like each other, but they have that kind of grudging mutual respect. In the back, I'm sure they all love the hell out of each other. They're like, we're gonna go and do it again because you're right. This is what they do. I mean, I just can't believe how bad SmackDown's gotten.
I can believe it, certainly, because
well, I mean, yeah, I know. I guess you're right. I mean, Ward. I don't know if it's all Ward, if it's all the stories themselves. I mean, the Ward hasn't done the stories themselves any favors, but a lot of the stories and starting point with Vince haven't been good either. I feel like it's a failure at multiple fronts and at multiple levels.
I feel as though that Ward has spent himself. He's used all of his good stories in the chamber, and he's trying to think of new ones on the fly. And remember, also Ward is a writer for Total Divas as well, and they've started up a new season as well. So he's busy on that show, and he's doing SmackDown. So you have two different styles of segments running together. When it comes to, and it's kind of funny, you guys are just like talking about all these other matches. Like that is the biggest indicator of just how badly booked AJ versus Baron Corbin is. Like
it is.
That's another match where you go to the bathroom.
Yeah, who the hell could care about AJ Styles versus Baron Corbin?
I mean I love for the rage factor if Corbin wins.
Yeah. Oh, if Corbin wins,
if Corbin wins, I'll be on the daily. I'll be on the daily watching it burn to the ground.
If Corbin wins, I'll just,
I don't know. It might not. I don't know anymore.
I mean, I don't know what's going to happen in this situation. They might swerve us and have Baron Corbin win the belt to just pop a cheap rating or something, or have Styles move up to the world title feud to run that Shinsuke AJ match with Mahal and the triple threat, possibly.
I don't know.
Because I can see that
happening. And then AJ eats a pin from Knock, and they protect Jinder Mahal.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. All I know is we've been talking. Yeah, all I know is we've been talking about AJ and Corbin for too long. Like you said, Fizzy, who cares about this match?
Well, like I said, I kind of do, because I kind of like, I'm slowly warming up to AJ, and I've always been a fan of Baron, so we'll see, because he still got his brownie points for beating the bejesus out of Austin Aries. Yes, brownie points do really last that long, folks. So let's see here. Well, since we covered a little bit about the New Day versus Usos, Sal, what is your thoughts on this Hell in a Cell match?
This would be the only match that could possibly get me to drive down to Detroit and go to the new Little Caesars Arena to watch this show live. But even then, I likely wouldn't, because there's 4 words in front of the word match. Hell in a Cell, which live viewing, not going to be good. Viewing at home, it might be fun, but my biggest issue with this is it doesn't really need the cell. I guess I just don't see the need for the cell. I mean, the match itself will kick ass, and that's my only potential nitpick, is that it doesn't need the cell. You know, but if that's all I'm nitpicking about this, then I have really nothing to complain about. So I expect the world from these 5 individuals because they are all amazing. Yeah, I mean, every time they've gone out there, they've kicked so much ass. They've had such a good time. I think they're going to do it again.
Okay, Taker, any more thoughts on this match?
100% agreement with Sal. It's going to be a kick-ass match. This is, like I said, this is one of the matches I'm looking forward to. Why the cell? Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, they've done every other type of match that is conceivable. Why not put them in the cell and see what happens? I mean, the only other thing that they could possibly do with them is have an elimination chamber with 5 tag teams and put the New Day Usos and 3 other teams in the elimination chamber for the titles. That's the only thing left after this.
Yeah. Something I am hoping for, though, is because Survivor Series is coming up soon. Instead of doing like a whole 5 tag team versus 5 tag team Raw on SmackDown, they do the Bar and they do Ambrose and Rollins against the Usos and the New Day, and you do the Shield and the Bar against the Usos and the New Day.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, and there's your tag team. There's your Raw versus SmackDown, because I feel like that would be a good idea, because the Bar and the Shield, well, the Bar and Rollins, and now Roman's getting into it. They've had their history, and the Usos and the New Day have had their history. I think it'd be kind of cool to have them put aside of their differences for one night and go to war with the other side.
Sort of like, Triple H teaming with everybody else during that one Survivor Series after Triple H had destroyed them all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would work. That would be an interesting idea. I think that this match here is looking like the most interesting on this card. The New Day has been a hit or miss act for me over the past couple of years, but I feel like they're really onto something here with this Usos feud. And of course, the Usos have turned from happy, smiling, dancing islanders into guys that you would not want to meet in the darkened alley. Heck, if you saw even a bright alley in the middle of the day, you wouldn't want to cross these two. The Usos have become one of the most destructive tag teams, not named the Revival, since the brand split, where they decided to ditch the happy-go-lucky happy act and decide to go for angry Usos.
They kind of remind me, the Usos now kind of remind me of the Wild Samoans.
A little bit, yeah.
In the way they act in the ring and the way they are.
Yeah.
They come out, kick your ass, and don't give a shit.
Yeah, pretty much. They're really, they've really gotten good on the mic too. I mean, I don't know if they always were or what, but why they weren't cutting promos before is beyond me, because they're really good at it.
Well, they're good at cutting heel. They're good at cutting heel style promos, because they originally debuted as a heel dynasty team,
I remember
and then they switched to face after a while.
Yeah,
more miscasting, except they got it right on SmackDown. So, well.
There is that.
Yep, there is that. Because they had them debut and they had them face against the Hart Dynasty in the Legacy versus Legacy tag team feud. That turned out to be interesting or below average, depending on how point of view is.
Wasn't Tamina involved as a manager back then too?
Yeah, and then they go up against the Hart. They went up against the Hart Dynasty, and they went up against Natty, Davey Boy, and Tyson, right?
Yep.
I remember that feud. Not very well, but I remember it.
I have big memories. Many adult beverages since then.
Yeah. Weren't the Usos managed by Abraham Washington for a brief minute?
I'm not sure.
I have to take a look.
So this match will be very interesting. I think that this Cell in a Cell match will be perfect for these two tag teams to go for absolute war in the Little Caesars Arena. I hope you have good insurance, folks.
Color, please.
I mean, I wouldn't mind color in this situation as long as all of the competitors got tested first. You know, that's the important thing, because two words: bloodborne pathogens. That's the one thing that has made me steer away from color, is bloodborne pathogens.
I know, and then in that one posting I put out about it, I mentioned that in the posting that as long as both sides have testing and agree to it, and they're clean, let them have it. But you got to have a testing protocol in place before you even consider doing something like this.
So, speaking of legacy feuds, I noticed we have a women's championship match featuring Natalya versus Charlotte. Okay, this is an interesting first feud for Natalya as the Crazy Cat Lady champion.
Yes, the Crazy Cat Lady with the buns for ears.
Yep. So, Taker, what's your thoughts on this match?
It's a match that's gonna, it's gonna be slow because we know Natty is a sound technical wrestler. Doesn't have a lot of high impact, high risk moves. As it seems that every time she goes for one, she screws it up. Charlotte, I'm liking her as a face more and more. And it has nothing to do with Rick, but I think at the end of the night, Charlotte takes the strap. And what's going to happen, and this is just me doing some little bit of fantasy booking here, because Rick is now getting out and about, is that he walks in to the arena after Charlotte takes the strap to a massive pop. And congratulates his daughter, and he's crying, she's crying, blah, 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 blah.
Just to solidify the fact that she's actually a face in this situation.
Exactly.
Instead of a heel,
Exactly.
And try to wash away some of the sins of Ric Flair last time in the women's division, which was unpleasant.
To say the least.
Yeah. So, Sal, what's your thoughts on this match?
This is a match that will happen. It will happen. It will likely be boring. Time will pass, and then there will be an end. And after that end, I will do something else. That's really my whole feelings on this match. I mean, looking up and down this card, I really don't care about any of it except the tag match.
What, Nakamura doesn't have your attention?
Nakamura does. It's the other half of that match that doesn't.
Interesting. So this match here is very interesting for me because they had a match done in NXT and it was quite solid. I think they actually rated it about 3.5, 4 stars. The experts.
I do think you're right.
So we'll see how this match translates on the main roster to see how it does. I'm actually looking forward to this Natalya Charlotte feud because here we have Natalya, who is now the Crazy Cat Lady Championship of Champions. And then we have, of course, Charlotte Flair, who is actually going on a pretty solid babyface run right now. I've been pretty vocal about the support of Charlotte as a babyface for a long time now because I just don't see her as a heel. Sorry, I just don't. I know she has the last name of Flair, but she's super, super likable. She's a likable individual. You can see it. She spends time trying to make sure that her entrance works. She spends time to try and make sure that her matches are as good as they can be with her limited experience in the wrestling world. She's gotten a lot better over the last 1.5 years, 2 years. If Braun Strowman wasn't around, we would be talking about Charlotte Flair suddenly becoming a really good wrestler. Yeah. And I think this match will do well.
I do too. I mean, in the end, Sal, like I said, it's going to be a match that happens, but there's going to be a lot of good points in the end of it, I think. I forgot about that match down in NXT. The only difference was that Brett was in Natty's corner and Rick was in Charlotte's corner at that time, but they're not doing it that way this time. And all that was just to get, I think, a few more eyeballs on it. And they did put out a solid match. As a matter of fact, I looked at it. I watched it just the other day, and I was like, damn, if they could pull that same match off at Hell in a Cell, this might be the sleeper match of the night.
Yeah, I mean, even though we've been kind of sort of negative about this show so far, there is a lot of potential here for things to turn around and be positive for this entire show. Although the last two matches do not inspire much hope. Which one of the horrors do we want to deal with first? McMahon Owens or Mahal Nakamura? I think we probably should get Mahal Nakamura out of the way first since we've been talking about it all, sure.
Nah, we're holding that off. We're teasing them a bit more. I have words for that. We're teasing them a bit more. We're going with McMahon Owens. I need to.
You need to blow up now.
No, I'm blowing up at Mahal Nakamura. We're saving that blow up to the end.
Okay.
Again, I'm like a Romo. I'm a ticking time bomb.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so it's McMahon.
A heart attack, are you?
No, I'm not going to have a heart attack.
Or a stroke.
Can't guarantee that.
So we have a Falls Count Anywhere Hell in a Cell match between Shane McMahon and Kevin the Murderer Owens. So Kevin Owens displayed how dangerous he is by once again destroying Sami Zayn. Sami, why do you keep getting into fights with this guy? And then we have Shane McMahon, who is defending the honor of the McMahons once again from the evil known as Kevin Owens, who used to be an enforcer for their authority stable. During the later half of, Owens becoming a corporate champion and all that kind of stuff. So we have a situation where two sides are trying to backstab one another and the potential of Owens being sent off to Raw once again. Oh, boy. Taker, what are your thoughts on this match?
Yeah. From what I've seen since Shane's been back, he has not won a match yet. He's had 2 and he's 0-2. I don't believe when he was with the company prior and wrestled from time to time, he had very many winning matches either. Owens has been in one Hell in a Cell, I believe, match. And now he's going to be in his second Hell in a Cell match. Okay. They say faults are going to count anywhere. All right, that's fine. But that tells me that's kind of spoils something for me to. One of the sides is going to get blown out.
Either that or Shane's going to jump off the top of it.
Or Kevin Owens, as he said, is going to throw him off. Shades of Nick Foley?
In this day and age? Jesus.
They already did it.
I know.
With Shane's match against The Undertaker.
He jumped off. I'm saying getting thrown off a la Undertaker Mick Foley. Undertaker Mankind. 1998 Royal Rumble, I think that was.
No, I know that. King of the Ring. I know what you're talking about, though, but yes. But I know but even that, in principle, it's going to be pretty much the same thing. Shane's going to fall from a high thing and go through an airbagged announce table.
Hopefully the German announce table. That's the only table I have not seen destroyed in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
But,
or history is going to repeat itself and Shane is going to find out just how indestructible that gosh dang German announce table is.
Yes. But here's the thing. This is another one of those matches. We know that Shane has bled in Hell in a Cell matches before. This is another one of those matches where it is screaming for color. Those two matches, those two Hell in a Cell matches, Usos New Day and Shane versus Owens are screaming for it. We've already seen color being done in this feud. When Vince took the headbutt and he got split open. Whether he bladed prior or not is irrelevant.
I mean, he didn't really have to blade given the fact that his skin is so thin from all of the blading that he did in years past. So he didn't really have to do that. All he had to do is just hit somebody hard in the head and there you go. Blood. I mean, honestly, in my thought process is, like I said, screen him first. Screen him for bloodborne pathogens first, especially for Shane, because he's older. And he wrestled in the Attitude Era where they didn't do as proper screening about things beforehand. And also, you want color? Is Shane going to bleed the color of money? Seriously, is he going to bleed the color of money? Like all green stuff and coins are going to come out of him if Owens decides to try and cut him open.
Yeah, I mean, that's the mystique of those matches is gone. That's the problem with it. And like I said, but I'm old school. In this group, I'm the oldest person here. And I've been called by CJ, as a matter of fact.
Mhm.
I was called Nick Bockwinkel to his Kurt Hennig.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, thank you, I think.
So, yeah, I mean, honestly, you're looking forward to this match if it has color in it and if it's a good match.
Yeah, it has to have something that sells me. And right now, I just don't see it.
Mhm.
I don't see it. This feud started out good and has lost momentum over the weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem.
Yeah,
that's the problem with a lot of the feuds today on SmackDown, is that they start out great.
Mm-hmm.
And as they get closer to the pay-per-view, they kind of peter out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not how it should be.
Mm-hmm. It certainly isn't.
Is this going to be the last match between those two? No. I don't think so.
Or if it is, because Owens is going over to SmackDown, and then they'll do another match, McMahon-Owens.
You mean back over to Raw?
Yeah, back over to Raw. Which kind of seems a bit silly because they just pulled him off of Raw onto SmackDown to boost ratings, back in April.
Yeah, 6 months ago.
Yeah, it's been 6 months already. I mean, unless you were planning on having him do a short-term feud, why are you having Owens move back to Raw when everything is kind of cluttered unless you're getting something back?
I don't know. Maybe they're going to trade him back for Jason Jordan.
Or they'll trade him for
to digress a little bit, to take that segue. Nice segue, Sal.
Mm-hmm.
That whole storyline has to die.
Yep, it does. And
it's already started. It's already on life support, for Christ's sake. Pull the plug.
Mm-hmm.
It's not working.
Someone pointed this out the other day. They broke up American Alpha just so Gable and Jordan could go back to being tag team wrestlers.
It's where they belong right now.
Yeah, I know. I just don't get why they didn't just move American Alpha over to Raw. I mean, if you're going to have them both be tag team wrestlers, why the fuck didn't you just move them both over?
But here again, Sal. We're asking WWE to make sense.
Yes, I know. I don't know.
I mean, Alpha wasn't really working out on the main roster well anyway, so they just decided to cut their losses.
Bullshit. I call it bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And here's why. The show here in my hometown where I'm living,
mm-hmm.
American Alpha was over like Rover.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There were women throwing their t-shirts at them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think it was the fact that American Alpha themselves were doing bad. I mean, you have to remember, early on in fall SmackDown last year, the tag division was pretty good and it was getting stories.
Mm-hmm.
Later in the fall, they hardly ever showed up because they were mainly focusing on the men's, the IC, World Heavyweight, and women's feuds.
Mm-hmm.
Those were the main feuds, so they didn't have time for the tag division. That's what I feel killed American Alpha more than anything. They hardly ever had time.
Mm-hmm. And while they're great workers, I mean, I'm not discouraging American Alpha as good workers here in this situation because they're good workers. They can get over with a live show audience. But we're running into the dynamic of athletic skill versus charisma on a microphone. And while Gable has charisma on a microphone, I think they saw a lot of upside for him to be single on SmackDown and send Jordan over to Raw to do this Kurt Angle story, which hasn't really worked out. But they can do a lot of things to turn everything around by turning Jordan heel, which is his natural alignment, and make it work. We'll see how it goes.
Well, the one difference between, if they really want to sell the fact that Jason Jordan is Kurt Angle's son, okay? Kurt Angle, when he came to the WWE, was already good on a mic. Okay? Jordan is not even there yet.
No.
Okay? Kurt Angle debuted as a face. And organically and slowly turned heel. But he always had the mic skill. Face or heel, he has the mic skill. Even now, he has the mic skill. That's the difference between. So how could they, either you have it or you don't.
Of course, you either have it or you don't.
But we could also say that about someone else. His name is Roman Reigns. when he was being scripted heavily, he looked terrible.
Yeah, but then when he got the chains off, he actually turned out to be pretty decent.
When he started working with Cena, and I think Cena schooled him a lot. Because I saw his promo work during that short feud with Cena expand exponentially.
Well, of course, because here's the thing. I don't know if necessarily Cena schooled him. I think it was more along the lines of, because Cena has creative control, he basically gave some of his creative control to Roman Reigns so that Reigns could actually expand his range of promos. They both came to an agreement in the back somewhere, I think, just said, let's just go out there and cut the best promos we can. I've got creative control because nobody wants to do anything to make me unhappy in this situation because I'm thinking of going to Hollywood, and Vince isn't going to lose out on another Rock this time with John Cena. So John Cena basically has immunity to do his promos.
Exactly. I see it exact. And I mean, it, you know, and it's starting to show more now with Roman. You know, yeah, we're on a different show. We're supposed to be talking about Hell in a Cell, but these are some things that need to be talked about. Because, you know, me, I'm the master of going off on tangents, but hey, it is what it is.
Yeah. But, you know, getting back to Owens McMahon really quick, my quick thoughts on the match are, I'm somewhat interested in Kevin Owens' new presentation, but I'm still holding my enthusiasm because, like I've said before, I've heard so many times he's back. Kevin Owens, the crazy, you know, diabolical master, is back. He's coming back. He's coming back, and he isn't.
And he falls short.
Yep. I can't let myself get caught up in this again.
I hate to disappoint you, Sal, but I think Shane's going over.
I don't think so. I think Kevin wins it. I think
friendly wager.
I don't know. I don't know.
It's real simple. If Kevin Owens wins, I have to say on a show to be determined later to Sal directly that I love The Miz once.
Oh, Taker, don't take that kind of bad, man. You know,
and if Shane wins on a show to be determined later, I will say The Miz is garbage directly to Taker.
Fair enough. I accept that bet. That's fair enough.
You got to bet.
And I'm going to stay clear out of this because I'm not a wagering person.
You're just a moderator and a witness to this bet being made.
Yep.
Okay. Yes.
Along with anyone else listening live, you heard it here. Me and Taker have a bet.
I thought I would make it fun.
Yeah. No, that'll be fun.
That's why I said friendly wager.
Yeah.
So this match, this is going to be interesting. I think that I'm not sure who goes over. Maybe Shane does. Maybe Owens does. You know, it really is up to the last minute. You know, how much collateral damage the Little Caesars Arena will have. They just opened up the dang thing, and Shane is going to jump off the roof of the thing.
Oh, that does bring me to one issue I do have with this match, and it's the two steps. Falls Count Anywhere, Hell in a Cell.
Very simple. Very simple.
I mean,
go ahead, Sal, but I got a very simple explanation for you.
They're sort of self-defeating, is my point. Falls Count Anywhere implies you're going to be all over the place, like in the crowd, in the back, doing whatever. Hell in a Cell implies you're going to be in the cell.
Okay. If you look at the very early history of Hell in a Cell matches, you did not have to pin your opponent in the ring. You could put him on the floor outside the ring. Because if you look at it, go back and look at some of your first ones, they were taking pinfalls on the floor, on the mats outside the ring.
That's true.
So they're bringing something back to Hell in a Cell. Now, with it, you know, it being Falls Count Anywhere, that's telling me that a side's going to be broke.
Yeah, I mean, I do get the feeling it's, well, I know, obviously, I think they're also doing this, you know, either a side's going to get broke, Shane's going to jump off the top, you know, and I get that's why they're doing it Falls Count Anywhere. It's just, I don't know, it's just one of those things where it's kind of like, in practice, it sort of seems like you're taking two concepts that more or less work against each other than rather with each other. I guess.
I
I
see.
don't know.
That's a simple explanation I come up with.
No, I know. And I get it. I feel like it would just be simpler for them to just redo the rules and make it you can be pinned anywhere inside the cell. You can pin or submit anywhere inside the cell instead of just on the ring, but I don't know.
That makes sense too, but
again WWE logic,
non-existent.
Yep.
They need to get a lesson from Mr. Spock on logic.
Yes.
Does Mr. Spock want anything to do with this promotion, though, is the question.
No.
Unfortunately, not because he's no longer with us, I think.
Oh, no, but the character Mr. Spock is still here. It's just the
Yes.
actor playing him is no longer with us.
That
But I
would-
think both of them would be going, why would I want to go into this promotion? Shatner already did it.
yeah.
Okay, so we have this last match. We also have the pre-show match. Okay, so before we get into the main event, are the Hype Bros going to break up on the pre-show?
Probably
Yes or no?
yes.
Probably yes.
Okay, so Hype Bros possibly going to be breaking up, and Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable will probably pick up a victory on the pre-show.
Yep.
So,
And that's a match that, and I look at that match as we need a match for the pre-show. Oh, yeah, let's just throw these four in the ring and let them go at it.
Yeah, that's pretty much what they did with this.
There's no storyline to it whatsoever. Once again, WWE dropping the ball.
No, I mean the closest thing to a storyline is the fact that Mojo and Zach might break up. So,
But that's it.
Yep.
no,
What
no,
intrigue?
yeah,
What intrigue?
yeah, not really a lot. I know it's stupid.
It's actually a pre-show match that
I might watch it just to see how it happens. But other than that, that's going to be one of those matches that happened.
Yep.
yeah, well, I'm honestly looking forward to this match because one, Hype Bros break up, possible storyline for the mid-card on SmackDown, and of course, Gable and Shelton Benjamin as a tag team. Let's see how that goes. We'll see if that's interesting or not. But it's one of the few pre-show matches I'm actually looking forward to because I haven't really looked forward to many of them on the pre-show this year.
Yeah.
And,
I remain unconvinced.
Like I
okay.
said, lackluster card so far.
Oh, and we're just getting to the fun part. Ladies and gentlemen, the main event of this Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, which probably won't be the main event.
No, it
Jinder
won't.
Mahal with the Singh brothers versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the WWE Championship. And Sal has a rant to get out. So, Sal, you go first.
Now, there's been some rumors that Shinsuke might win the belt here, or someone might win it and Jinder wins it again because they're promoting him as a two-time WWE champion in India. Okay. I don't care. They crossed a Rubicon. They can't go back. Shinsuke needs to win this belt, and Jinder cannot win it again from Shinsuke. Here's why. That promo, what was it, 2-3 weeks ago where he went racist? You cannot let the racist win in the end. You cannot repeat WrestleMania 19. If Jinder ever wins the belt back from Shinsuke, the racist will have won in the end. You can't. One, you should have never played the race card in something like this. Just never. I mean, you should never do what they did, but they did it. Okay. So two, you need to have Shinsuke win it, and you can't have him let him lose it to Jinder because, like I said, you can't have the racist win in the end. I don't care. Someone could be like, oh, but Shinsuke won it, so he went over the racist. Yeah, but if the racist goes over him again, what was the point? You know, the racist still won in the end. You can't have him lose it. I think the whole idea of this Jinder push, as I've mentioned numerous times, is stupid. Apparently, I heard this on the tail end of your show, Taker. I think MDS brought it up that people in India aren't really that big of a fan of Jinder. They're trying to appeal to all of India by pushing a guy and promoting him more or less from Punjab, which is only one of many regions, which is foolish in and of itself. There's the numerous other issues that they get the pay-per-views for free. I mean, this whole thing makes no sense, and they're dead set on keeping it alive. This is their god emperor that they need to keep alive, and it is killing the company. It is killing SmackDown because the two guys One Sport brought it up last week. When Jinder Mahal is your world heavyweight champion, SmackDown has a ceiling that no one can get past. Because even though he tries hard, even though he works hard, he's just not that good. He's not that good in the ring. He's an average at best promo. It just puts a damper on this whole thing. And it needs to end. And I don't think it will end.
Okay. Wow. That was really good there, Sal. That was really good.
Very good rant, Sal. It's hard to follow that.
I know. I'm sorry, guys.
No, that's okay. That's fine. That's fine. Because you said a lot of things that I've been saying.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. Can't have the racist win in the end.
Yeah.
You know, I spoke on this on my podcast that with all the stuff that's been going on in this country, in the United States.
Yep.
And I say this this country or the United States because my partner is in Japan. He has a different take on it. He says a lot of he says you know, he said it was a cringeworthy promo. I was at both my wife and I, Legends Lover on K-Side, was watching that, and both of our mouths fell open. We were shocked. I mean, for crying out loud, this country has enough racial problems that we didn't need that added on top of it all.
Yep.
They crossed a very, very hard line, in my opinion, and it's going to take an awful lot to get it back. And if you heard I heard the attendance numbers for Denver SmackDown Live.
Yep.
Under 6,000.
I know.
In an arena that can hold 17,000.
Yeah.
For a hockey game, so closer to 20,000 with wrestling.
Yeah.
And
they're barely doing a fourth of the attendance.
Yeah. And that's sad. And I think the drop in attendance started right after that racial promo.
It was also because, and I've also looked at the analytical statistics that have been done by some of the people, particularly by Brendan Howard of WrestleNomics Radio. The drop-off actually started when Cena left. Statistically speaking, when Cena left, the attendance started to drop off for SmackDown, and then it was further amplified by the gender stuff.
Well, the only thing right now that you know, you say go to the war with the army you have, not the army you want. You said that earlier, Sal.
Yeah.
The problem is we don't have the superstar top dog figure on SmackDown Live. We don't have the star that's going to draw the eyeballs.
We don't. I mean, we did. I mean, we could have possibly two of them. In theory, AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura should both be in that position because of their potential. AJ Styles was that guy last fall. We saw this. SmackDown ratings were doing very well with him as champ. Shinsuke Nakamura has been a huge draw, and he had gotten huge pops, you know. I mean, the SmackDown when he debuted did over 3 million viewers. So people want to see these two, you know.
But damn it, they're not there.
Yes, because WWE is ruining it.
You know, and that all lays at the feet of one Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
Yep.
Well, yeah, that and everybody else who's also struggling. It's wrestlers, for whatever reason, in 2017 seem to think that these crazy ideas that worked in the past would work again. And again, they're going in, like Sal said, the Booker T Triple H direction from WrestleMania 19, where Triple H won against Booker T.
Yeah.
Okay, who was the person who suggested this idea? I know that it wasn't just Vince. You know, it wasn't just Vince who suggested it. We have Dunn, we have Hunter, we have.
It wasn't Hunter. I can guarantee that. Shinsuke was his pet project in NXT.
Sure. But at the same time, Hunter's hands are tied because his roster is bloated to the point of we're going to have to see some cuts in NXT pretty soon because he keeps signing everybody and the kitchen sink. He's in no position to negotiate right now with Kevin Dunn, who he hates, and Kevin Dunn hates him. Because what we've heard from the corporate side is when Vince retires or when Vince is done, Kevin Dunn is the first person out the door. Kevin Dunn is going to do as long as he can and as long as he has the investment options necessary to keep Hunter at bay. So far,
he's got Vince protecting him.
Yeah, he's got Vince protecting him, and also right now at this stage with this Jinder Nakamura feud, I'm not real. I mean, I've said my piece on the Jinder Mahal stuff. I think that it was unnecessary, but they were desperate to get heel heat in the situation, but they took a very bad option to do so. The concern I have right now is on Nakamura. Nakamura has been highly inconsistent since his debut on the main roster and on NXT in general for the last year and a half. Look, I get it.
Part of it has to do with the booking he's been given, and he's been putting people over that he should, in all actuality, completely destroy. Yeah. Even Samoa Joe in a straight up shoot fight with Shinsuke Nakamura is dead meat.
Mm-hmm. He probably is. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think I mean, look, I know Shinsuke has been a bit inconsistent. I mean, this has always been one of his criticisms, is that he kind of takes off when the lights aren't at their brightest. Mm-hmm. But when they are, he usually tries really hard, and I think he's been bucking that trend lately. He's usually trying really, really hard. Mm-hmm. Why? I don't know. I mean, how could you try that hard?
He's trying to draw the best out of Jinder Mahal, and he isn't coming up to Shinsuke's standards. So Shinsuke's get to the point where he's just mailing it in because he's sick of trying.
Yeah, and probably because he's losing to Jinder. I mean, fucking hell, if I had to lose to Jinder,
yeah. I mean, it always takes his goddamn lackeys to do it.
Yeah.
You look at what happened. You look at what happened on SmackDown the other day. Mm-hmm. Okay. Shinsuke was cleaning house.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Getting ready to hit a Kinshasa on Jinder Mahal when the Singh brothers grabbed his legs.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, and I knew as soon as the camera went on him in the corner, I'm like, well, he's screwed. I knew it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it was the same corner that he put the Singh brothers down in.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And here's the thing. We mentioned the Miz stuff and the Roman stuff. Roman Reigns actually got pretty good cheers yesterday. This past
Monday. He did. He got a face pop of all face pops.
You know why? There's a couple reasons. One, he went up against Miz, and Miz will make anyone look good.
Unless your name is Jason Jordan, and then you'll start getting face pops for whatever reason.
I know. That's two. It's because they booked him like an ass kicker, which, surprise, surprise, people like ass kickers.
Mm-hmm. Right now, for whatever reason, they like those types of personalities, even though I'm not exactly a big fan of the whole anti-hero concept. I like my anti-heroes, but I like a mix. I like a diverse set of baby faces from different sort of alignments if you're looking at it from a D&D perspective.
Well, even then, it's not solely an anti-hero trait. I mean, you can still be a righteous ass kicker, like you're an avenging angel of justice type of thing. Mm-hmm. That's pretty white meat baby face. But
basically, what you're saying, a hound of justice.
Yeah, but my point is, people like ass kickers. Why the hell can we not have Shinsuke go back to being his King of Strong Style ass kicking self?
Mm-hmm. Well,
I mean, partially. I think they're saving that for one Joshi Princess Empress who's undefeated, and that's who's going to be the one that's going to be doing all the strong style shit. Mm-hmm. And she's just going to basically kick everybody's head off in the women's division.
Yeah, and people will like that. I don't get why we can't have it for more than one person. I mean, especially considering this was Shinsuke's shtick in New Japan.
Sure.
Oh, I have looked at some of his matches in New Japan, and I'm like, holy shit, why isn't this guy here?
Probably because they don't want one of their performers to end up like Kazuyori Shibata did earlier this year. Admittedly, it wasn't Nakamura that did the hit. It was Okada doing the Rainmaker and hitting him under the chin.
No, that wasn't it. That was Shibata's headbutt that did it.
Oh, yeah. But what happened is that Shibata hit his head twice. First, it was the Rainmaker hit, which caused his brain to go back and forth. Then the headbutt, he headbutted him, and that caused the damage. That caused the second half of the damage to the head. It was the whiplash effect from the Rainmaker because he hit it under his chin, which was probably the worst spot to take that Rainmaker because he actually did get legitimately hit by Okada's arm because he likes to get in close for the Rainmaker to make it look as legit as possible. And then, of course, the headbutt from just the pure anger of being hit in the neck. And that's how it happened there, and then he went down, and thankfully he's okay. He's not going to wrestle again, certainly. I hope not. But, you know.
He was able to walk out to the ring and walk back on his own during, what was it, during
G1.
The G1, yeah.
But
yeah, I remember you guys talking about it. But let's get down to brass tacks here. When AJ Styles first came to the roster, didn't he knock out one of Mrs. Caps or something or other?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he really doesn't use that
Styles Clash.
No, it wasn't Styles. It was
just a
back fist.
like a reverse.
Oh, the back fist. Okay.
He doesn't really use it much now. And when he does it, everybody ducks it. He misses it.
Yeah.
They're forcing AJ Styles to change his style because of the veneer or the cap being knocked out of Miz's mouth.
Sure. But at the same time, they've also got the big thing that WWE has to deal with right now is they've got a massive concussion lawsuit that they have not been able to get rid of thus far. And they're trying to be as safe as possible in ring at this point. Jinder almost knocking Finn out, notwithstanding.
See, I would buy that if Vince McMahon didn't have his employees shoot headbutt him.
Sure.
This company cannot claim to be all about safety when they have someone do that.
Sure.
No,
but
and then to make matters worse, Kevin Owens shoot-headbutted Shane on Tuesday night.
Oh, he did. See, I didn't watch SmackDown on Tuesday, so yeah. I mean, I get what you're saying, Fizzy, and yes, I would buy that, but this company can't have it both ways. They can't be all about safety and then have an employee shoot headbutt people.
Sure, but then we have the counterbalance of it's a McMahon that's doing it.
Yeah, which is stupid. I hate this company so much.
Sure.
Tell us how you really feel, Sal.
But again, as I've said before in the past, the more you hate, the more power that you're giving to Vince. The more that he's living off of all the hatred, all the rage, all of the yelling and shouting that everybody does against him. And in this situation with Jinder and Nakamura, they will have a match. They will have a championship match. Will Nakamura win? Well, Sal and Taker are certainly hoping so. And
it's time.
It's long since been time.
I mean, and I was a big Jinder supporter, Sal. You know this.
Yeah, I know you were.
I mean, how much grief did I get?
You got a lot of grief.
Yeah, you got a lot of grief. But again, here's the important thing that you did. You changed your thought process as the weeks went on, and when Jinder cut the promo, which caused you and your wife's mouths to hang open, go, what did he just say?
Yeah, that's when we had our WTF moments. We're like, no, he just did not go there, did he?
And he did.
We didn't. And with the racial problems and racial tensions in the United States, we don't need it.
Of course we don't need it. And but they thought they could get it, like we said a couple weeks ago, they thought they could get away with it because it was India versus Japan, not United States versus some enter this country here.
But the thing about it is, like I said at the end of my show, like we talked about at the end of our show today, okay? Or at the beginning, I can't remember, but this topic came up about Jinder Mahal and Shinsuke Nakamura. Okay, one thing is, and I know a lot of stuff about India and about India because I have a boss that's from there. Okay, the Jinder Mahal is not liked over there. Why? Because he's Canadian national with Indian ancestry, Indian descent. Okay. His language skills for the language of Hindi, which is it's not Punjabi. There is no such language as Punjabi. Punjab is a what's the word I'm looking for?
It's a province in India.
A province. Thank you. It's a province. They speak both Hindi and Gujarati in there. There's no such language as Punjabi. Yes, they want to get the WWE network subscriptions up in India. Okay, fine. With them getting the pay-per-views for free, why would they want to do that? The average salary for the common man or a common person in India, based on American dollars, is roughly $45 a month. They can't afford $10 of that.
Yeah.
Okay. He is not liked in his own country. They're not even covering him on the news anymore. He's making a mockery of his country of origin, where his family is from. And I'm surprised his uncle hasn't cut his tongue out of his mouth yet.
Oh yes. His uncle is a well-known wrestler. What's his name?
Gama Singh.
Gaman Singh.
Gama Singh, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's Gana Singh, who's a well-known wrestler over in India.
Yeah, he was a well-known wrestler in Japan, and that guy, he was I think, what was it? He was a deathmatch wrestler for the most part. You know, he would get into the most bloody, destructive matches against the wrestlers in, what was it? Was it All Japan or New Japan that he was in?
I think both at one time.
I think, yeah, both. But yeah, so, I mean, like, Jinder has
his uncle. You know, his uncle is not happy.
Oh, he's probably not happy with the booking, and you know he's probably not happy with his son's booking. He's probably not with his cousin's booking, or you know, all that.
And then there's the great Khali who was from India, who was over. He is big over there.
Yeah, he has his own wrestling promotion.
Right, that's affiliated with WWE. That's where the Davida Kavi come from.
Davida Devi, yeah.
And for her size, she is fast.
Yep.
But you know, here again lies the issue. The Great Khali is from there, and he's over.
Yeah.
What WWE is trying to do is get Jinder over, and they're not buying it.
Yeah, they're not buying it. They're not going to buy that.
My boss is like, he's not true Indian. He's not from there.
Yeah, he's a Canadian national. Yeah, he's from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. You know, basically we have the Indian version of the less good Lance Storm in this ring.
Exactly.
Yeah, this whole thing isn't working and it's time to end it. But no, WWE can't do it because, like I said, it's their God Emperor. It's the thing they must sacrifice everything else for to keep going.
And it makes me wonder, you know, getting back to real quick to what I was saying earlier, getting back to that. It makes me wonder why Great Khali doesn't want to do anything over here with WWE right now. He did that one spot and left the next day.
Yep.
Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, both of you guys, like you said, are hoping for Nakamura to win the belt.
Yes, please.
I'm a little bit more neutral on it because, again, I've been highly suspect. I've never was the biggest fan of Nakamura in New Japan. And I think he's doing okay, but his age and injuries have definitely caught up to this guy. And they're trying to protect him as best they can. The same thing with Kevin Owens. You know, the guy has been wrestling since 2004-05 when he was 14 years old. Age and injuries caught up to him. Styles, same thing. It's like basically watching a hockey team with all these great all-stars, and suddenly all these all-stars decide to decline at once in 1 year.
Kind of like what we're seeing.
I will not mention the words D, red, and wings in the same sentence because that's
not the wings. Maybe the 03 Red Wings after they won the cup in 01-02. But these Red Wings, we don't really have a lot of old people. Half our roster's young. It's just they're underperforming.
Or we could. You want to even make it even better? Why don't we compare them to the current troubles of the New England Patriots, who are 2-2,
3-2? They won yesterday.
Oh, they won last night, so they're 3-2. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, you're right. They're still looking bad. But yes, I mean
to lose to the Kansas City Chiefs.
The Chiefs are actually solid this year.
Yeah.
Oh, they are. And that Kareem Hunt. Oh my God.
Yeah. And now we're tangenting. Woo!
Hey, it puts you in a better mood.
Yeah. But yeah, but you know, look, I understand your concerns about Shinsuke Fizzy. It's just they gotta get on a pure moral standpoint, you can't have the racist win in the end.
Sure, of course not. You don't want the racist to win in the end. It's just that I can barely, you know, for me, I see the belts purely as props. It's a screenplay against a hero versus a villain. Hopefully the hero wins out in the end in this situation, but I'm also very pessimistic that they're going to do that. Unless, of course, they want to riot in the Little Caesars Arena. Seriously, guys, I hope your insurance is really good because you have a WWE pay-per-view that is, unfortunately, a bit of a mixed bag. There's a couple of good matches on this show, but there's not a lot else here.
Yeah. No. Like I said, there's one match I'm looking forward to, maybe two. If Owens McMahon, it might be decent. Not really looking forward to much except for the tag match. So,
okay, Takers,
that tag match is going to tear the house down, plain and simple.
Yeah.
It's going to be like whoever's on after that goes, follow that.
They should probably main. They should main with the tag match. If they were
I
smart,
agree.
That's what they would do. They'd main with the tag match. Nothing will be able to follow it.
Wow.
Put it in the Undertaker spot. You know, the Undertaker spot. Nobody for years and years and years wanted to go on WrestleMania after Taker because
nothing could follow it.
Nothing could. Even the end of an era match wasn't a main event, and they still stole it.
Yep.
So, yeah, that has been Hell in a Cell, folks. Next week, we will be doing more covering of that as well as the rest of Monday Night Raw, whatever happened on that particular show that week. Because we still got the build to TLC or TLA, as I call it, Tables, Ladders, and Asuka.
Yes. My Empress, my goddess is coming. Heads will be kicked off. And the first one I hope she kicks off is Alexa Bliss.
Of course, because you went with Miz with Sal, and you know that I am a fan of Alexa Bliss.
Yeah. But,
okay, let me ask you a question, Fizz.
Yeah?
What the hell is the storyline with 1 minute they're friends, the next minute they're not? Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss. What the hell?
Because Nia lost her opportunity to challenge for the belt when she was in that fatal 5-way match. Basically, when they go, Bayley may have been the one pinned, which made her lose her opportunity at challenging for the belt until further notice. But Nia also didn't win the pinfall, so Nia now has to buddy up with Alexa Bliss again because now Alexa Bliss is the champion. Also, Alexa Bliss is kind of the scary one of the two, as Nia does not want to cross this individual in case Alexa brings in yet another monster to try and destroy her. Nia is a very intelligent monster character, so she's going to try and manipulate Alexa into a situation where she can be weakened so that Nia can take her out.
If I had any faith in WWE's writing, I would actually buy that, Fizzy.
But again,
but for maybe that is what the bottom line is. I just don't see it. I mean, 1 minute they're friends, the next minute they're bitter enemies, and then they're back to friends.
I think it's more or less lazy writing on WWE's part.
Well, also, I think at the same time, you have a situation where these two monsters realize that they have to band together to face against the terrors of the rest of the women's division, starting with Mickie James and continuing on with Sasha Banks trying to once again get the belt, and the possibility of both two monsters debuting at the same time, with Asuka trying to destroy the rest of the division and Bayley possibly turning evil.
Please?
Yeah, it'll be what it'll be. Other things we might cover next week and other things I plan on covering, because there's actually a wrestling show happening that I'm actually looking forward to. King of Pro Wrestling, New Japan, has a show on Monday. So I'll be watching that on Monday because I don't have work or school. Hooray.
Yes.
And we'll recap that on Friday.
So thanks once again for Takers Minon coming in on this edition of Fizzy's Wacky World of Wrestling.
Thanks for having me, guys. You can find me at Takers_Minon on Twitter. You'll also catch me every Friday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Time for Shooting the Breeze with my ill co-host this week, Mr. Dr. Senju. Do give us a listen. We do have a tendency to go on rants, but we're pretty decent all in all.
And you also have your own Twitter account, which I have linked here. I have put down on the description page of this video, which is Shootin' the Breeze 1.
Yeah, and it's spelled BREEZ.
Yep, which is what exactly is said on his avatar right there. So you can check them out. They upload their videos on there. Episode 15 just went up today.
It's also going to be available on iTunes and SoundCloud.
Yep.
Sometime tonight, because the guy MDS does all that for us. And like I said, we're going to start promoting this, and we started this on our show. We do have a very special guest that's agreed to give us at least 30 minutes of time, and his name is Conrad Thompson. He has two big podcasts that he runs every week. The first one is Wrestling Something with Bruce Pritchard, and the other one is What Happened When, and that's strictly Conrad Thompson himself. He's a big fish, and he's given us a little bit of love.
And we are both, us here at Wacky World of Wrestling, are incredibly happy for you and MDS. We know you guys will kill it, and we're looking forward to it.
Yep. We're also asking for questions from anybody in the internet wrestling community. If they want to ask a question, please tweet us at Shootin' the Breeze. That's BREEZ1 on Twitter, and we will compile all the questions and take the best ones.
Coolness, folks. And you can follow us on Twitter, and you can also watch the broadcast on his channel, which is at the Shootin' the Breeze channel on YouTube. And we'll see you next week for our 30th episode, Sal.
Yep.
Which is technically 22 in the Revival era, but I'm counting them as original era and Revival era at the same time because I don't like renumbering stuff much like comic books do. You can follow us at Twitter I'm at Fizzpatrick14, and Sal is at Sal_Cusmano.
Other way around, Cusmano_Sal.
Okay, Cusmano_Sal. And we'll see you next week, folks, for our 30th episode where we'll be covering the fallout from Hell in a Cell. We'll be covering a little bit of Raw, and we'll be covering Kings of Pro Wrestling. Should be a pretty fun show, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in on this edition of the show. Thank you so much once again for Taker for filling in for us on this guest edition. And we'll see you next time, folks, for the next edition of Fizzy's Wacky World of Wrestling. Also, tune in later tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Two Guys, One Sport with Crazy Chris 576 and Curtin Jerker. See you then, folks.
See you guys.
See you later, folks.